engineering side, but it would be a perfect candidate for also being a flood control feature as well as a road. One of the things that we're now doing with a lot of our infrastructure is we're using what I call ancient modern technology. Many of you have seen the old Roman roads and how they're still being driven on today by the little Fiats in Italy. Many of those roads actually have drainage components that go underneath them. We are now discovering this new concept, brand new concept, that gee, we can make our roads water conveyance features. Brand new technology, high level. Now, instead of doing the little cavernary things that you've seen the pictures of, we now use milk crates underneath them, or something that looks like milk crates, and structures that are there. But basically, we are revitalizing and rediscovering the stuff that the old Romans used to do in terms of making our projects. So that our road projects now are usually also flood control projects. And we have a policy on any road that we build that we analyze it and that we make it better than it was before. We're not just the Boy Scouts. We're actually trying to do a policy now, 25% on average, where if we build a road, it needs to improve the drainage by 25% from where it was before. In terms of that. So that's a mobility feature. Hamlin Road is one of those projects. And we were, the county has now bought a park, which is over there on Edgewater Park. That's going to be a public park that will become available pretty soon. We were able to do that with some funds out of the waste pits down at San Jacinto. That was a TxDOT grant. And we're in the process, and through that park, we will be putting a county road. And part of our county road is how many of y'all have been distressed in trying to get in and out of Kingwood whenever there was a train there? 3 entrances and exits into Kingwood, all of which cross a train track. Hamlin Road will have a grade separation. That's that word that you take home today and go, I learned a new word. Grade separation. That basically means a bridge over the train track. So now there will be a way in and out of the neighborhood. Now Hamlin Road's in a whole lot of bad problems in other spots that aren't in the county section. Where our park is, but it's time for us to rediscuss putting this back on that project list. It was killed because there were a number of folks in Kingwood that were concerned that if we built a road that improved mobility and improved drainage, that more people would move into Kingwood. And I'm thinking that now that there will be other voices that say mobility and drainage would probably be good things. And so if you have influence with Councilmember Martin's office, please let them know that you'll be in support, because there are those who are still opposed to expanding and allowing that partnership to go. Partnership would be county puts up 20%, city puts up 80%, we build it and get it done, which is a great program. We're doing that on Newlands Road, which is elsewhere in the city, and we're working on some other spots. And those are great projects. Mesa Road, that's something that's going to be dealt with in the future, but we're putting some money into this area. But we have to be very careful, and Matt's going to talk about this in a little bit. We keep hearing we need to make Harris County flood-proof. We need to build this in a way to where we can never have water in our homes again. There were engineers that built this ship that was called the Titanic, and they built it so well, with such modern precision, that even God could not sink that ship. Anybody remember reading about that in your history? And by golly, the unsinkable ship, the one that not even God could sink, sunk. We live in the bio city. By the way, that's you can tell an old timer from a modern person, because old timers will call it bio, like Buffalo, bio, and the more modern people will call it a bayou, because they are influenced by Louisiana. So the Louisiana pronunciation would be bayou, but the old timers around here would call it bio. So you can kind of throw a little confusion in there and pretend that you're an old timer about it. That's another thing you can take to your parties and impress friends with. When we are in the process of trying to make a place that cannot sink, we make a place that cannot flood, we have to be careful that that's really an impossible feature. And sometimes, to make it to where it can handle a problem is going to make your living conditions untenable. For example, without getting too much into the details, on the Mother's Day flood, we had 6.5 inches of water in 45 minutes. The most we had during Harvey was 6.75 over an hour. And so you had a whole lot of water that happened over a very short period of time in a place that had never really been impacted before because it never been hit like that before. Now, without going into some other issues that may be in that area, and I don't really want to get into those, let me just kind of shift that and say, in any other part of the county, if you put 6.5 inches of water and 45 minutes on it, you're going to have problems. And it's like this: if you go into your bathroom sink, you notice how your bathroom sink isn't as deep as a mop sink that you have over there. The mop sink is a really, really deep sink. Put a 5-gallon bucket of water into a mop sink and not have any problems. But if you take a 5-gallon tub of water and put it in your bathroom sink and you dump it all at once, of course it's going to spread all over the place and go all over the bathroom and make a big mess. If you pour it in slowly, there won't be a problem, because if your sink works, everything's fine. Pour it in a little quickly, it'll fill up faster, and then there'll be that second little hole in the sink that will capture the second bit, and so you can actually pour it pretty quick. As long as you don't put all of the 5-gallon tank into the bathroom sink all at once, you're gonna be okay. But if you do it all at once, you're gonna have a problem. Well, if you want to dump 5-gallon buckets of water into your bathroom sink and not have it spill out all over the floor, your solution is to put a mop sink where your basin is in the bathroom. Ladies, how many of you would like to replace your bathroom sink with a mop sink? I don't have any takers. So we have to be careful, because when we go to some points to try to make something proof against a problem, we can create other problems in that place. And so it's impossible to make the unsinkable ship. It's impossible to make the unfloodable place. But as we do our projects, we need to make sure that we do it wisely, and to know that if we drive the cost up so high, you can build a house to where every house is on a 10-foot stilt like it is over on Bolivar Peninsula. But nobody wants to live in a house that's on a 10-foot stilt when they're in a regular neighborhood and everybody else is on a slab. There are things that we have to be careful of in the process that require. And, this is another thing that, as a commissioner, and many of you have heard me say this several times when we went to you for the bond, and by the way, it passed with record numbers. The last time that there was a bond that passed with this kind of percentage passage, it was after the Great Storm of 1900 that hit Galveston, and their bond passed with slightly better numbers than ours. But at 85%, that's just historic. Everybody got together and said this is the right thing to do. And so I say thank you for your participation in that. But one of the things that we learned, or that I learned as a commissioner, and this is a very important concept. Did y'all know that water flows downhill? Serious. Water flows downhill. What does that mean in practical sense? Well, what that means is that if you fail to control the water up Spring Creek and allow it to run uncontrolled and unstopped, it impacts the confluence that comes in here with Cypress Creek and makes the place where Cypress Creek flows backed up. And if you have both of these unhindered and unbacked up, then they connect to the San Jacinto River right about here. And if the San Jacinto River is all backed up, then that impacts Lake Houston. It's like that thing with the song about the ankle bone is connected to the shin bone to the knee bone to the thigh bone, hip bone. They're all connected. And water is flowing downhill. And so many times we just want to focus on, well, what's the project in my neighborhood? But what you really need to be focused on is not just what's in your neighborhood, but what's going on upstream from me, my umbrella, and what's going on downstream from me, your plug. Because you need to make sure that the plug is unplugged and clear so there's a place for the water to go, because water flows downhill. See, y'all are an educated group. And so our projects are all working together. Now every year I do a quirky thing. I didn't get to do it last But I will start in Spring Creek, and this is the old slide, because I replaced these pictures. I'll start in Spring Creek, or Cypress Creek, or Willow Creek, one of the creeks where the water starts to come into beautiful Precinct 4, where I can step over it. And then I will hike along that watershed until it gets to where it is deep enough for me to be able to canoe. And then I'll get in a canoe or a kayak, and I will paddle it until that Jones Park, where I can then get in a pontoon boat, and then I'll follow the river until it goes to the Senior Center, goes past where it joins the Senior Center River, but goes on past that until it goes to the bridge on 1960. And the bridge on 1960 in the middle of Lake Houston is the end of Precinct 4, and I say goodbye to the water that I've been following all the way through. And I know it sounds silly, but it's my way of connecting to my watersheds in the precinct. And I might be old and fat, but I'm nimble. And so I enjoy getting out there and usually take a couple of my guys that are with me. And I've learned, when water starts off where it's small, it continues to grow, and my thing quit working. So I'm going to have you manually push the next button there. So the water continues to grow, and I'm about to start talking about our local projects that are our, let's see, where are we there? And I'm going to let Matt have some of this time. Okay. Not working. Well, hey, there we are. Maybe. We have a lot of road projects that we can talk about. They're there. We talked about some. We have our flood control. Can you back up the slide? Okay. I'm going to talk about this slide, and then I'm going to skip forward because of time. We've got other people speaking. But in the bond, we had some 239 projects that were identified in the bond. And a lot of folks, they said, well, I voted for the bond. How come that project isn't completed in my neighborhood? Because after all, once you vote for it and it passed, and the next day it should have like appeared. Because government is just that fast. But our government has really been amazing, and Matt Zeeb is I don't know what Matt's official title is, but he's like the number 2 big dog dude in flood control. So you guys have a very important person that's here. We have already launched 146 of the 239 projects. That deserves a round of applause.